So how on planet Earth, as a rookie agent, can I possibly compete with veterans? In this video, we're going to talk about exactly how rookie commercial real estate agents can be competing with ease against those commercial veterans. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. Again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Henry Eisenstein, and I've been a part of over $450 million worth of real estate transactions, and I'm only 28 years old. In this video, we're going to be talking about exactly how, yes, you as a rookie realtor can take on those commercial real estate veterans. The one thing I want to stress more than anything in the world is that as a rookie realtor, the one thing you have over anybody else is time. You have so much time that you should be plowing into prospecting. Yes, prospecting. One thing I want to stress more than ever, beyond the fact that you have a lot of time, is there is nothing more important in the real estate world other than lead generation. Probably the number one point. Whoever has the most amount of leads, warm leads, hot leads, people who are looking to sell their property, specifically at a great price, obviously, whoever has the most great price properties in the marketplace is going to make the most money, is going to sell a lot of business. I don't know if I'm making the most money, but they will definitely sell a lot of real estate. So what I want to make sure I'm pointing out here, make sure you hear this loud and clear, is that if you're a rookie going up against a veteran in your marketplace, you can take that on. You can do the David versus Goliath thing. However, you will need to prospect your tail off to catch up, because that veteran has a 10 or 20 or 30 year database that they have built over time. And the only way to compete with that is that you have to start building your database as well. So each and every single day, you better be hitting those phones like crazy at a bare minimum 3 to 5 hours a day. Yes, a day. Because the only way to compete is by outworking these people. Because what happens is when you're a veteran, you're making 500 grand a year or $1 million a year, you're probably not prospecting your tail off and you're just letting the referrals refer your business. However, you can work every single angle. What I did at the very beginning of my career is I said, listen, I'm gonna have 100 conversations each and every single day, and I'm not gonna stop until I'm the best in the freaking world at this. I had the mentality is that I was gonna make it or I was gonna die trying. So every single day, I literally dialed for between 6 and 8 hours a day, every day, minimum, where I hit my 100 conversation minimum, or I was out on an appointment, and that was it. I would stress more than anything is that you're gonna lead gen your tail off. Whatever amount of time it takes, you're gonna be making your calls until you set a certain amount of appointments or you generate a certain amount of leads each and every single day, because listen, the only way to catch up is to outwork them. The second point is ignorance. The cool part about being a rookie in this business is that you don't know what you don't know, which is actually a really, really good thing, and obviously has some hindrances. Because yes, a veteran commercial real estate agent might have a lot of expertise, they might have a better understanding about how to underwrite a deal, maybe how to ask the right questions. But if you have the right script, which is down in the description down below, you can prospect just like they would, if not better, because they probably don't have my script book. What I would say to you is that ignorance is going to allow you to skyrocket in a way that I couldn't even explain to you how much it will benefit you. What happens is this. A veteran who's been around for 10 or 20 years is probably not going to be number one prospecting each and every single day. They might just be waiting on the referrals. Number two, a commercial veteran agent is also probably not underwriting 1,000 deals a day. Right? So that means they're probably not going on LoopNet and they're not underwriting a bunch of deals where you're going to be getting the experience like they've been cramming in for the last 20 years. You're going to try to cram that in the next 6 months. What that means is this. You're going to be inquiring on a lot of different properties and just practicing underwriting deals. The reason why I say this is because it's very, very important that you practice so you can become better. Now look, these average commercial real estate agents are typically, half of them don't even underwrite any deals because they send it to an underwriter at their company, which I don't think is smart because you should learn on how to do it. However, I would recommend that if you see a deal on LoopNet, you underwrite the deal yourself. See what you would make an offer on it if you were an investor. Talk to a commercial lender. Get a little bit of an understanding of exactly what they would lend on this property. Say in this hypothetical scenario, what type of financing terms would you give on this property? And understand the game. The cool part about having this level of ignorance, because you don't know what is what, is that I would tell you that if I came into this business brand spanking new, I would have 100 conversations a day, every single day, 7 days a week. I would call up every single person that I know locally that is in the commercial world, and I would say it like this. This is every commercial lender, the accountants that are working with investors. I would be calling up developers and I would be like, hey, look, I'm a new realtor to the marketplace. I know, and obviously, I don't have a lot of experience in this, but what I can do more than anybody else is I can make a lot of phone calls. So what type of investment deals are you looking for? Because I'm gonna find you the best of the best deals out there. You have that type of leverage, of workload, of ignorance, where you can go around and ask these types of questions and they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Where I can still walk into a room and be like, hey, because again, look, I'm 28. I can walk into a room with a 70-year-old developer who's incredibly seasoned and has $1 billion in the bank and say, listen, I'm a young guy. I'm not looking for anything. All I want to do is find you great opportunities. What kind of opportunities are you looking for? And let me do all the hard work. And if I find anything lucrative, I'll make sure I bring it your way. The point is like, I'm not going to ask for anything, right? I'm just going to give. I want to give you opportunity after opportunity. I'm going to prospect my tail off to find you deals where you're going to make a lot of money. That ignorance pays off massively because most of the veterans are probably not looking for more business. They're just working their sphere, they're working their database, and that's really it. They're not going to be going out to all these different developers like you probably should, right? Or are you going out to all these different investor meetups, and you're going to be going to all these different places and talking with people who are seasoned investors, right? And getting all their criteria, because your competition, the veterans, are probably not going to do that. Now look, they might have the same person in their database. I'm just going to be honest with you. You probably have, like, all the people that are in the state of New Jersey, there's probably some overlap between the people in my database and the people they have in their database. We just probably have a lot of the same people. However, it doesn't mean that they close any deals with my people, because I work on my conversion and I work on keeping in touch with my relationships as much as I possibly can. Because think about it, there's only a couple ways that you can differentiate yourself as a rookie realtor. Number one is you have a deeper relationship than somebody else. So there might be a veteran, you might have more experience, but you're closer connected to this person. Hypothetically, they're like your best friend's cousin, or like, you know, you have some type of connection with that person that this other person does not have. You can beat them on connection, or you can beat them on the fact that you just might be better at finding off-market deals. A veteran commercial real estate agent, typically what they'll do, like I said, is that they'll get a referral. They're like, oh yeah, hey, I'm not gonna sell my building. Where that person might not get 50 referrals a month, they might get 2 or 3 referrals a month of, hey, I'm looking to sell my building, I wanna lease out my building. You, on the other hand, can spend all day, every day, like we've talked about, finding great off-market deals. So think about what you could be spending all day doing, is that the more and better the off-market deals you find, the better you're gonna look in the eyes of an investor. So the way that I've become such a great asset to these investors is that I'm very, very good. I built up a reputation on finding great off-market distressed commercial deals. What happens is investors will reach out to me, or I can go up to investors because they know who I am through my relationships, and they'll say, hey, I know you're really good at finding off-market investment deals. I'm looking for an investment deal. I'm looking for a 100,000 square foot warehouse in XYZ different towns. Can you find me something? Yeah, sure, no problem. So what happens is that you become the go-to person because of the deals you find. The more calls you make, you use my script, you prospect your tail off, you get a lot of great leads, and you follow up because of how much time you could be spending on your prospecting time, right? So you're gonna be outward prospecting for new business, and then you're following up with all those leads, where the best deals you can find, right? The best off-market deals, the better those deals are, the easier this business gets. What happens is that these big-time veterans, what they'll do is like, oh, some guy wants to, list their retail building that's probably worth 10 million, they'll list it for 12.5 or 13 million or 15 million because that's what the seller wants to do. Because they're thinking only like a real estate agent. However, you as a rookie can also think like an investor. You're gonna be calling up somebody and say, like, hey, I'm just curious if you consider selling your property. That person might say, yeah, I'm open to selling your property. Can you get me an offer? You'd be like, sure, can you get me some details in regards to that property so I can underwrite it a little bit and I can get you the best offer possible. What happens is that they're gonna give you some information, you're gonna underwrite it, and what most commercial veterans will do, which I believe is wrong, is that they will say, like, listen, I think your property's worth like 10 million bucks. I know you said you were looking for 13. I think it's only worth about 10 million. And what's gonna happen is that they're gonna be like, I don't really want 10 million. Let's list the property for 12 or 13 million bucks. What you could do as a rookie realtor is that instead of just saying, listen, I think it's worth 10 million, but let's just list the property. No, you're gonna say, here's a letter of intent for $9 million. You write up a letter of intent, which again, you can Google on how to do this, and you can literally find any buyer who will be like, listen, hey, here's a great deal. It's really worth 10, but let's make an offer at 9 million. And you submit an offer at 9 million bucks. Yes, because what most commercial veterans don't do is they don't submit enough letters of intent. And then what they'll do is they'll just try to list properties. I'm not in the business of listing properties. I'm in the business of selling properties. I don't care about listing properties at all. I just want to sell them. So what happens is that when I get a deal, I'm going to be focusing on, and what I recommend you focusing on is sending out letters of intent. So what happens is when you get a deal and you underwrite it and you figure out exactly where it's at by practicing over and over again. We talked about underwriting deals. You can check out other videos of mine. You can Google that on YouTube. What happens is that now that you've underwritten the deal, you can easily just send them over an offer, a letter of intent with a LLC on it, and say, hey, here's a letter of intent, a 60-day due diligence, 30-day close. Just want to confirm the financials and contingent upon inspections. Very simple. And then what ends up happening is that guy who wants 13 million goes, okay, you have a legitimate offer for 9 million. That looks great. That's pretty awesome. Wow. No one else got me an offer. Because what they just try to do is they try to pitch the listing. But because you put an offer in front of them, you're going to look different than the veteran down the street who goes, oh yeah, why don't you just list the property with me? We're in the business of selling properties. That's the business that we're in. And last point I want to make is that a lot of commercial veteran realtors are also going to be retiring soon. Because if they're 50, 60, 70 years old, they're probably not going to be in business very long. And especially in the economy that we're in today, it is very tough for a lot of these veterans because all they're relying on is the referrals for the most part. Where if you're prospecting your tail off and these guys are going to eventually not be in the business in 2 to 5 years, then guess what? This is a prime opportunity for you to be hitting the phones, mastering the simple basics of the commercial world, because guess what? When they vacate the business, when they go bye-bye because they retire, you're going to be standing tall, selling all the business that would be, instead of going their way, going your way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is nice, short, and sweet. And again, if you do not download my script book, make sure you check it out so you guys can be getting a lot more leads than those veteran commercial agents. So other than that, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.